Namo Phat, good morning. Thanks for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I am determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. This morning we're reading the first section of Making the Darkness Visible from Ajahn Amaro's book, Catastrophe, Apostrophe. The four kinds of grasping are grasping sense pleasure, kamupadana, grasping views and opinions, ditupadana, grasping conventions, silabatupadana, and grasping views of yourself, attavadupadana. How do each of us work best with these various kinds of grasping? We're all different in personality and experience, therefore each of us will probably have stronger tendencies in certain areas. It is up to each one of us to explore the habit areas where our minds get most fully caught up. That said, there are effective ways that we can approach all the different kinds of grasping. One approach is what I call conscious clinging, or making the darkness visible. This is a method that Ajahn Sumedho has encouraged in the past, and which I have found extremely helpful. When we notice a particular kind of grasping in the mind, something we want, something that we hate, typically we think that we should let go of that unskillful feeling, and we may think that there's something wrong with us if we can't let it go. Most of us, as Buddhist practitioners, are trained to have this response to let go, but often, in the urge to immediately let go, we're actually empowering those unskillful attitudes by being afraid of them, averse to them. We make them more real by creating a reaction against them. We create a belief, I'm an angry person, or I am better than that person, or I'm a greedy person. And we unconsciously strengthen that belief even as we are trying to let the unskillful habit go. Ajahn Sumedho would recommend that instead of pushing that belief away, we bring it front and center instead. Get it to speak up. If we feel annoyed with someone, bring that annoyance to mind. I wish that person didn't exist. I wish he was dead. What we are doing seems unthinkable. Good Buddhists shouldn't be having a thought like this. But when we bring that thought front and center, what happens almost immediately is that we start laughing. Once it's clearly conscious, the absurdity of the thought becomes apparent. If you were different, I would be happy. We realize that it's a joke. Then, maybe, we find something else to be annoyed about, but again, we notice the judgments we are making and can train ourselves not to believe our own thoughts. We recognize that this is a judgment and not an absolute fact. This practice is particularly helpful in regard to self-view, attavadupadana. If we have a self-critical attitude, a negative self-view, we can catch the mind creating that self-critical thought. We bring it front and center and ask it to speak up. We recognize the judgment. I'm a terrible person. I am the worst person in this family. I'm polluting the atmosphere for everybody else with my selfish thoughts. We tend to believe thoughts like this because they are internal, often unspoken, and yet so familiar. We think them and take them to be true without even realizing that they are assumptions. So, instead, we bring them forward in order to see them clearly. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks for joining me today.